Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Monday. I hope you had a fantastic weekend out there. You know, the Barbie movie, Oppenheimer, right? The propaganda in movies out there. But you know what? If you know that going in, I think you'll be okay. It's for the most people that probably don't even know what's really happening with it all. But that's where we come in, and I haven't seen it. I will say this. The only thing I've been told is Barbie's a little more adult. Yeah, and maybe not the greatest for the youngins. A lot of sexual innuendo and the not. So you've been warned. I was told it was funny. So, you know, there you go. There's your movie critique to start the week. 800-951-0592. AllAmericanGold.com is the website. Of course, we got the Fed this week. We are expecting a rate hike on Wednesday. We'll talk all about that. Now, it's Monday. Normally, we have my son Joey with us. He will not be joining us this week. He's doing some continuing education seminars. And again, he's going to be in the know on a lot of things. That's kind of one of the cool things about maybe having a financial guy that's a little bit on the younger side, right? They're all, hey, I'm all into learning. I'm all into getting new licenses, learning new things. So that's what he's going to be doing. So he won't be joining us this week, Jason, but he should be back next week. Of course, you and him, neither one of you surprised that the Fed wasn't done hiking rates.
No, and I wouldn't be surprised if it continues, depending on what information and what tickles their fancy. But if, we'll see what happens. Obviously, they're going by the numbers that are fed to them. And, Joe, I wouldn't be surprised 2 for sure, and then maybe we'll see. I know you're thinking maybe just 1. I see 2 for sure. I could see them go to 6% before they stop.
Well, and again, right, Bubba Horwitz, he's a 6% guy. I'll tell you what, we'll press Joey next week. Let's see what he says, as to where we're going to be. And just remember, every rate hike is it's just more pressure on these banks that were, hey, you know what, maybe I'm not a too big to fail bank. I wasn't a juggernaut bank, but I was doing, okay. We made a little bit of money, maybe not a ton of money. Now all of these banks are going to be wobbling again. Commercial real estate, big article over the weekend. Nobody knows where the bottom is, and more defaults happened in commercial real estate right now. At least this is just my, as I'm watching this, it seems like most of the buildings that are heading to foreclosure, 65 to 75% off. That seems to kind of be the number right now. And the sad part is all of these buildings, they were financed 2015, 2016, 2017. It's not like this was something where they were financed, a year ago or 2 years ago. We're talking about, way before COVID and what these buildings were going for. And now the losses somewhere around, really, let's say 2/3 to 3/4 of total investment is being wiped out. So it's going to be an interesting thing that's happening today, though. What are we going to focus on today? Well, 2 things. One, banks are starting to close people's accounts without warning and going what they call a review process where you won't have access to your money for 20 days or more. And then how many of the security reports are the banks filing? So I'll give you a number So, again, anytime you break a pattern at your bank and the teller kind of hits you with a question that you would like to say it's none of your damn business, right? Hey, what's this for? Right? That's usually a typical one. Then just kind of in the back of your mind going, okay, yeah, well, they're not asking to be nosy, right? Their little computer screen sending up a flag. So we're going to talk about that. I'll give you how many. And then, of course, the latest now, the banks, and this is what I said, you don't own the money when it's in the bank. You don't. The bank owns it. And this will be another example of that. And then we're going to talk silver. One of our great listeners sent me this email, and it recaps where all, I don't know about all, but a lot of the major silver players. Where is the price of silver going, Jason, right? That's the $1 million question. Where is it going? I'm going to give you, like, big banks, right? You know, the B of A's, JP Morgan, all the way to some silver hedge funds. We're going to kind of tell you, you know what shouldn't be surprising? It's all over the board, Jason.
Yeah, I think this economic downturn that we're headed straight into is a way to bleed the lower class dry as much as they can, and the price of silver won't significantly really go up until they've done as much damage as possible. You know, that's how I see it. So it's going up. It's going up big. Global monetary reset. It could go. $20 gold pieces to 35. We said it the other week. 2,000 gold to 3,500 gold. Silver could be $200, right?
Right. Well, we're going to weigh in on everybody else's opinion when we get back. $10592. A quick look here at the markets today. The bubble up continues. The Dow up 190. Of course, this is all on hopes that this is either the last rate hike or there may do one other. That is the hope of Wall Street. The S&P's up 22. The NASDAQ up 48 points. Gold's pretty flat. Gold and silver pretty flat. Not a lot of action happening on either of those markets. Crude oil, I'll just point this out. Crude oil, I don't know what's going on in crude oil, but it's this picture of inflation easing, getting a little harder here. Crude oil's up another $1.50 here, almost $79 a barrel. Brent crude approaching $83, but I'm looking at gasoline. Wholesale unleaded gasoline today, $2.90 on the wholesale side. So that, you know, normally you're adding at least $1 a gallon, if not in some states, depending on taxes, significantly more than that. So my guess is gasoline prices, which have been falling, are going to start rising again. But in lieu of what I teased earlier, money in the bank, how safe is it? How many reports are the banks generating? And when I talk about reports, we'll call them SARS, but not the SARS you think of. I'm not talking about the virus SARS. No, this is the secure or suspicious activity reports. Suspicious activity reports generated by banks, and the banks now repeatedly, very quietly, you don't hear about it. You're going to hear about it today. Freezing people's accounts seemingly out of nowhere. Maybe you don't want to have all that money in the bank. Well, what do? How do you get a fixed rate of return? Maybe I don't want to play Wall Street right now. I think it's overvalued. I don't trust Jay Powell. I don't trust the dollar. Check in to our friends at Y Refi. Up to 10.25% fixed. It's fixed. A fixed rate of return. You can turn your income on. You can turn it off. You can do whatever you want. And you know what it's going to look like each and every month. It doesn't care about Wall Street, doesn't care about rate hikes, doesn't care about presidential elections. Invest, YREFI.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-YREFI24. That's 888-YREFI24. Now, what is going on with these banks? Is it kind of interesting that all of a sudden banks are having deposit problems? And contrary to popular belief, right, big banks are having deposit problems too. And I guess the one thing is Americans, we're waking up slowly. Too slowly, but at least we're waking up. But according to CBS Los Angeles, which is, it's kind of shocking that a TV station in California would be the one busting this thing open, U.S. banks are increasingly closing customer accounts and freezing withdrawals without warning. And a growing number of people is now saying that they are abruptly losing access to both their checking and savings account, according to CBS Los Angeles. The report cites sudden closures that people are getting when they receive an ominous alerts when logging in to their bank accounts. This one particular man, he was at Bank of America. He got one of these alerts. He drove to his branch where he was informed that his account had been shut down and access to his life savings was denied. Bank of America told me they shut my account down. They refused to give me an explanation. They told me I would get my money after it was resolved. All of a sudden, the guy says, I'm broke. I can't feed my family. I can't pay any of my expenses. They said that banks typically shut down accounts over concerns of what they call suspicious behavior. So, Jason, the banks, right, and we know this, going back to the financial crisis, one of the great things, remember Dodd-Frank and Too Big to Fail? That was supposed to say, fix everything. Of course, I told you then, that was a bunch of crap. Right? Because what was the problem? Well, the banks were too big. Systemic risk. Okay, well, how do you fix that? You put back the rules that used to be in place. See, they had rules. They had rules all the way up to the late 1990s that said, hey, banks, you can only be so big. Because they knew, hey, if you get too big, you can take the whole system down. One rogue bank could ruin everything. Is that what Dodd-Frank did? Did Dodd-Frank go back to that? No. Matter of fact, what did they do? They did the opposite. Made them even bigger. Of course, I told you then, what they did do is shift the end game to the depositors and away from the banks. Right? Remember, no more bailouts, only bail-ins. And, of course, what happened soon after, Jason? All of a sudden, these suspicious activity reports started popping up at all these banks, right? All these banks, no more third-party checks. Remember third-party checks paid to the order? Hey, it's my grandson's birthday. I'm going to put $100 in his account. No, you're not. Right, Jason? All these rules started changing for the consumer, didn't they?
Yeah, they want to know exactly where the money is at all times. This is why their own cash has become a problem. Their Ponzi schemes too big and bloated that their own money outside their system being held as savings messes them up. So the rules have been changing to know where all these dollars are at all times, which is why we're going to have a digital currency, because then they can know where all the dollars are at all times. So yeah, they don't want you doing weird stuff, paying for this or not knowing why the money's going there. They want to know not just where it is and what it's doing, but why it's doing, right, Joe?
Yeah, so get this. According to the Banking Policy Institute, now I don't know about this group, but let's just take it at face value. With the emergence of Dodd-Frank, the explosion of suspicious activity reports, they noted by 2014, so what was that? 4 or 5 years after Dodd-Frank, something like that. The number totaled 830,000. By 2021, the number jumped to 1.4 million. Unfortunately, they say the problem's only getting worse, but Jason, they don't have any more records. The banks haven't released it. I mean, we know they're doing millions of these things, right? They're doing millions of them. But I want to give you some detail about how the worthlessness of all of this. According to the reports, the reports submitted, only 4% of the suspicious activity reports submitted by the banks go to law enforcement, resulting in any type of follow-up. Now, what are they talking about? Law enforcement, IRS, right? Typically, right now it may go FBI, right? But this is what we're talking about. Where sometimes, rarely, maybe you're talking about the local police department, but this is bigger than that. But it's the next part. So you're doing millions of these, where 4%, they say, need further investigation. After this further investigation, and again, this is the Banking Policy Institute, only a small fraction result in anybody being arrested or anybody being convicted of a crime. In other words, what they're saying is this whole program is pretty much BS. 99.95% of them, there's nothing really suspicious about it at all. And yet, Jason, it's doubling and tripling every couple of years, all of these reports. And now, all of a sudden, people's accounts are being locked up and people are being denied access to their money, which in most of the time, according to the actual results, nobody did anything wrong.
Yeah, I think this will happen more and more, actually, Joe. I mean, personally, I was trying to just buy on the internet a product, right? And I was told it was a suspicious vendor, and they shut everything down on me. They didn't shut my account down. But isn't that going to be the future, right, Joe? That the ESG scores and all this other stuff, that if you just simply go to make a digital purchase with their digital currency, then they just freeze you up because, well, this is very suspicious looking. We're going to have to wait to see what's going on here before you can spend your money again. Yeah. So this is not a surprise.
Guilty before proven innocent, right? Yep. Guilty before proven. But this is worse. Most people have one bank account. Right? Hey, this is where my money is. This is where my checking account is. This is where my savings account is. If you lock that account, right, like the guy said, I'm broke. Right? I can't pay my bills. Right? I can't feed my family. According to the report, 19 states' attorney generals have accused J.P. Morgan of persistently discriminating against its own clients and closing bank accounts without warning based on all kinds of different criteria, from religious to political bias to, well, we just don't like the suspicious activity report, whether they've done anything illegal or not. Think about Bank of America. They told this guy 20 days. Let me ask you, how many people out there can go 20 days with no access to money? Right? Another great reason to have some gold and silver put away, right? Right? At least you can come to Patriot and sell a $20 gold piece and get some cash, at least now. I mean, wait till it goes digital. Right? Then what are you going to do? Right? I got no access to money. Well, you know, if there's no cash to give, right, you better have something to barter with. It's another one of those situations where you just, how do you deal with this massive bank? The guy whose money got locked up. This massive power that they have, and you have no control over it. I was shocked to find out that this is actually relatively common. And Jason, I'm going to tell you right now, most people today, they don't want to believe what we just told them. They don't want to believe that this can happen. You know what's funny is when we get back, I'm going to tell you why this guy's account got frozen and then what happened in the aftermath. Stay with us. (800) 951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour on this Monday, talking about this trend now across the United States where the mega banks predominantly have been shutting people's accounts down without warning, launching suspicious activity reports in the millions. Even though, according to the own data, the amount of these activity reports, it actually says, oh, wait, somebody, you know what, you're right, hey, good job. Somebody is doing something nefarious, is almost non-existent. It's minute. Minute. But yet here we are, in this particular case in Los Angeles. What do you do? What would you do? Guy's freaked out. Doesn't have any money. Can't put gas in the car. Can't do anything. They locked him all up. He goes to the news media. You know the one. Every I think every station has, every city has, like 3 on your side right there. They're going to go in there. So the TV crews show up at the bank. Now remember, the bank wouldn't even tell the guy why his account had been suspended. Now, as soon as the news media shows up, the bank changes its tune. Not surprisingly. You know what they said? Well, it's not us. They said his account got frozen because the FBI was involved. And then come to find out, guess what? The guy tells the bank, I'm the one who went to the FBI because a person had submitted a report. He had submitted a report to the FBI about a scammer that had tried to impersonate him online. He's like, so the report was actually filed by me. And now your response to me trying to protect myself is you locking up my account. Here's what happened, Jason. Guess what? The bank threw him out. Said, okay, well, you know what? You're going to wire your money out. You need to open a new account. You are no longer banking with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a tough situation to be in, Joe. Really, I mean, what else should you do, right? What else can you do? What to do in that situation, right?
They are producing millions of these suspicious activity reports, millions of them. See, and now they're just, you know how you can trigger? Go ask your bank for $5,000 in cash. Unless that's something you do regularly. Suspicious activity report. Go put a bunch of cash in your bank account. Suspicious activity report. Unless you're in a business, hey, I run a little retail place and I put cash in. Otherwise, hey, no, my checks get direct deposited. Right? You're one of those people. All of a sudden, who knows? Maybe you sold a car. I sold my car. The guy gave me $8,000 in cash. I'm putting it in the bank. Suspicious activity report. Who knows what will lead to these, but just know the practice of these mega banks locking people out now, Jason, it's not a once in a while thing. According to CBS Los Angeles, as they dug into this, they found out big banks are doing this to everybody all over the country.
Well, it's going to be, I'm sure, a more frequently exercised situation as time goes on. I fully believe they're going to make moving your money around much more difficult the closer we get to the digital currency, because the digital currency will then obviously be the big hero that saves you from all of this nonsense, right, Joe? That's they got to make it look like a hero in more ways than one, and this is going to be one of the things. Well, you can just put your money over here. You don't have to deal with any of that. Put it over here, Joe. So I think we'll be having a lot more stories like this as the months roll on.
Yeah, and again, I'll be interested. I'll try to find more current data as it comes out on these suspicious activities reports. But it's in the millions. I wouldn't be shocked. Probably be tens of millions here soon enough. And again, this will be another one of the reasons why we need to go digital. Well, gosh, look, we just got too much of this stuff, guys. You know, you guys are doing crazy stuff like putting cash in the bank. You're doing crazy stuff like taking cash out of the bank. We can't have that, right? We can't have that. That's just too crazy. Look at it. Look at all the paperwork we've got to do. Look at all the expense it is to the bank. You know, gosh, we fill out 10 million of these things every year. We can't have that. That's what it'll be. It'll be used, right? And again, I just told you 99.999. Was that a Herman Cain thing? The 9990, right? But most of these are ridiculous. Right? Almost none of them actually lead to, oh, wait, you did do something wrong. Like this guy, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just trying to protect himself.
Yep, this is something I think we're going to see a lot more of, Joe, for sure. This is, I think it'll be more than this. I think they'll cook up more ideas to make things even worse for us. Confiscation's the next thing, right, Joe? Freeze it and then take it, right? That'll be one of the next things. Well, wait a minute. We got to charge you for looking into your situation.
Today we're going to help you diversify some of that money. The last of the Silver Eagles, we still got some Silver Eagle rolls at $675. Again, I checked again today. I can't believe how much less we are than everybody else. $675 on Silver Eagle rolls. But on the gold side, now this is a huge special in my opinion. The $5 Liberty. These are the old, remember, back when our currency was backed by gold, 1866 to 1907, the quarter ounce $5 Liberty. They're regularly $585 right now, which is a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good price. Today, 1 through 9 at $560. That's $25 off. Listen, 10 or more, $550 for 10 $5 Liberties, $550 if you buy 10 or more. So it's $35 a coin today at 800-951-0592. When we get back, where do all the experts say silver's going to be in the next 5 to 10 years? We'll do that next. Have that gold and silver put away. You never know when your bank account's going to get closed. Sorry, suspicious activity report. We'll let you know in 3 weeks. Have something you can at least barter with, trade with your neighbors. Hey, can you help me out? Can you go buy my groceries for me? And here's a couple of $5 Liberty gold coins for you to do it with, right? Things of that nature. Rolls of silver, eagles, whatever it may be. Again, U.S. $5 Liberties. These are the older ones, 1866 to 1907. Big savings today, 1 through 9 at $5.60. 10 or more at $5.50. Rolls of silver eagles today, $675 at 800-951-0592. So where's silver going? Right? And everybody is all over the map. Right? You've got places that are saying $20. Heck, you got people saying $500. And everything in between. Well, here's a comprehensive list of where people think gold is heading in the next, some of it's near term, but the next 5 years. Bank of America. Well, they say $25 in 2023. Well, okay, that's already here, right? Not really earth-shattering, and then some mumbo-jumbo about great demand, industrial demand, jewelry demand, and that the price, could go higher later, but they don't want to, we're just saying 25. Sprott money. That's one you guys have heard of. They've got a $38 price tag on silver. Wheaton Precious Metals. This one's a weird one. $20 to $30. $20 to $30 is their number. DeCarly Trading, they're heavy silver traders. $36. How about Reuters? Reuters polled 38 analysts. Now, I don't know who the analysts are. They didn't say. $23. And this was just a short-term one from there. The London bullion market. Pretty knowledgeable place. $28.30. And I want to say that's by 2025. Gold and silver pros. $40 to $50. Smart money tracker. $30 to $50. Matterhorn Asset Management. $50. Robert Kiyosaki. $35 in 2023. Got some work to do for that. $75 in 2024. And he says, hey, it could be $500 longer term. Wells Fargo, if you want to believe these guys, $48 in the next 5 years. They said could be bigger than that, right? But $48 in the next 5 years. So let's see, silver's about half that. So silver's going to double in the next 5 years, according to Wells Fargo. That'd be what, like 20% plus return a year? Keith Neumeyer, $125 in the current cycle. And his cycle period, the next 5 to 10 years. Silver stock investor, $300 in the next 5 to 10 years. Elliott Wave, all you Elliott Wave people out there, $50 in the next, or in the current, I'm sorry, not the next cycle, in the current cycle. Precious metals commodity management, $50 in the next few years. Momentum structural analysis. So these are momentum traders. Right? They got all these charts and, they're trying to read these charts. $200 in the current year. I'm sorry, current cycle. Current cycle, not current year, current cycle. Rob Jaquint. A lot of you guys follow Rob. He's a big mining guy. $250 by 2027. David Morgan, another guy. A lot of you guys follow David Morgan. $50 in the short term. Bank of America, like I said, $25 and saying that silver remains elevated. Solid industrial demand from silver for solar and automobile sectors. Says it's likely to steadily increase through 2026. So they're saying, well, the price, 25 now, and look for increasing all the way through 2026. Commerce Bank, $25 by the end of 2023. Like I said, we've already done it. Record industrial demand, they cite, along with coins and bars and jewelry. The price is going to benefit when the Fed stops raising rates and potentially starts cutting rates and demand increasing even further. So again, kind of like Bank of America, $25 and then a lot higher. We'll be back with the other. But before we get back, 800-951-0592. Get your $5 gold liberties and your silver eagles put away. Eight 800-951-0592. How about Germany's largest and oldest precious metals company? Says silver is going to be $30 by the end of this year and then go substantially higher. Sprott, who we talked about earlier, they got a $38 target, Jason, at the end of this year. I think that's pretty aggressive here, but it is. There's a growing number of people in the silver markets that are saying soon. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen before the year ends or not, but soon you're going to see this big jump in silver prices, whether it's $30, $35. Robert Key was talking $30, right? Germany's oldest company, they say $35. Sprott saying $38 by the end of the year. I mean, Wells Fargo says silver is going to be $48 in 5 years. Investing Haven says $34.70 by the end of this year, $48 shortly after. Keith Neumeyer, he's another one. He's CEO of First Majestic Silver, so he's a pretty knowledgeable guy. Says $30 in 2023, $125 before this cycle ends. DeCarly Trading, they're a brokerage. They're a brokerage. They trade in silver. They say $30 to $36 in the short term because they say it's got to catch up to gold. Now here's one on the other side. Canadian Imperial Bank, $23.50. That's not very high, but they didn't go. But they also go on to say, by the way, longer term, we think both gold and silver will continue to rise in price. Silver stock investors, $300 in the next 5 to 10 years. The Silver Institute, these guys are, I think they're clowns, but okay. But I'll give it to you. $23, Jason, at the end of this year, according to them. They say that they've got a fairly cautious outlook. So you can see a lot of outlooks, almost all of them say it's going to be higher, and a lot of them say significantly higher, Jason.
I read a thing several months ago that guy is big on silver. I think it was a retailer of specialty silver coins. But he made a case that silver will get up between $75 to $110. The selling will be so outrageously out of control, but it'll continue to sell. And then when it breaks out of that cycle, silver could be more expensive than gold. And he made a really strong case for it, that, you know, the shortage and the industrial demand, the buying of it out of the markets and getting it out of the markets completely, and then it would like loosen up the price beyond that 110. And he was saying $1,000 and more, and within this decade, basically, Joe. So it's supply and demand, really. I mean, if silver becomes that important to industrial demand, and we go through an economic change, everything can be reset. I never thought I'd see rhodium go to $25,000 like it did, but it did. You know, different situation, but still, things can happen, right, Joe?
Absolutely. 800-951-0592. Two great items today. The $5 Liberty 1 through 9, $560. 10 or more, $550. Silver Eagle Roll, $675. 800-951-0592. Jason and I are coming right back